What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Press Hockey Weekly Show. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final preview here on @FullPressNHL on Twitter. You can get it on YouTube, Full Press Coverage, FullPressHockey.com, FullPressCoverage.com, Full Press Coverage on Facebook, and always get the audio version on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host, the voice of Full Press Hockey, Jim Berenger. It's been a busy weekend. I'm rocking and rolling with the Game 2 preview with Chris Wassel. What's up, buddy?
Hey, we're ready to go. I mean, sure, we don't have that awesome Vegas-like weather, but I don't know, it's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad here on the East Coast. And shout out to our producer, Ian, behind the scenes, getting everything rocking and rolling. It is a busy weekend. Oh, by the way, cheap plug for the Full Press NHL podcast. Check it out. Busy weekend. Bill Lindsay interview Friday, and Willie G. Ramirez of ESPN Las Vegas, the Sporting Tribune, AP Sports, also up there as well. Please subscribe and check out the latest episodes. He broke down some things in Game 1, Game 2. We're ready for Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. Vegas Golden Knights lead the series 1-0, 5-2 victory in Game 1. Kind of how we foreseen it in our little preview on Saturday. Kind of the rust was there for the Panthers, especially late.
Yeah, it's weird. For those that didn't watch the game, you would have thought, oh, they'd be rusty in the first 10 minutes. It actually was more like they were rusty in the last 10 to 15 minutes, arguably more than anything else. The other thing, too, is, Jim, I heard a lot of iron coming from Florida.
But how many posts they hit in like that one shift in the second period?
Had to be at least 3.
Easy, right? 3 to 4. I mean, look, Aiden Hill played spectacular in Game 1. Highlight reel save of the playoffs. MasterCard save of the year, thrown back to NHL Cool Shots videos in the middle of the 90s. That Chris Osgood save. Look, same net that Braden Holtby made the save in 2018.
It's crazy.
The paddle save on Nick Cousins to start the second period. The Full Press Hockey turning point of game number 1. You could make the case maybe Marchessa's power play goal, but that was the save that got Vegas going.
Absolutely, because look, for most, particularly the later part of the first period, Florida outplayed Vegas.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Once Florida got their legs, it was like, wait, look, they're getting chance after chance after chance. Okay, they're in this. Without a doubt. Yes, I understand it was 1-1 after 20. But the better chances were definitely on the side of Florida. And it's weird. I mean, for those, this is funny. Game 1 almost went a little too according to the script. Eerily too much.
Yeah. It did go according to script. Look, we figured Vegas was going to take Game 1. I mean, Florida's off for 10 days. And I could see it as the game went on. You could see, and I wrote on it, keys to the Game 2. Check it out, FullPressHockey.com. The thing to me was the turnovers, the winning the puck battles, winning the foot races. You could see it in the third period. I know it was 2-2. I know Florida was dominating the face-off circle in the later half of the second period and the third period. But Vegas was getting better looks. They were taking the eyes away from Bobrovsky. They were winning puck battles. Bobrovsky played a great game. No doubt about it. But he gave up 4 goals. And a couple of them were on screens. The goal by Theodore in the second to make it 2-1, and then the shot from Whitecloud. I mean, it's right through a screen. I mean, no one's. But the fact of the matter is, Howden wins a foot race, wipes out an icing that sets in motion Vegas keeping the puck in the zone. The bad play by Tkachuk leads to the Mark Stone goal, 4-2.
Yeah.
Then another save by Hill, shorthanded.
Yeah.
And then Riley Smith. I mean, look, Vegas did what they had to do to win. And even Bruce Cassidy said, and a lot of players said, they didn't bring their best. And they expect to play better, like Florida expects to play better in this game.
Absolutely. I mean, it was an entertaining game. Nobody can say that it wasn't. a lot of good saves on both ends, a lot of end-to-end action, and most importantly, a little bit of that snarl and sort of like grimy ugliness that you'd totally expect from two teams that get lots of sun.
Yeah, I mean, but the player said it best after the game. Guys are playing for a Stanley Cup. I mean, there's going to be nastiness. I mean, you know, both teams, they were, there was some ugliness, but Vegas doesn't want to get involved in the stuff after the whistle. And it was just like, no, you know what? You can poke and prod at us all you want. We're not going to respond. And I think, look, I saw the Matthew Tkachuk had a bad game one, no doubt about it. Bad game one. It reminded me of his play in Edmonton when he was with Calgary last year in the playoffs. Too much focus on the extracurricular stuff. The referees are going to watch it. They like to play stuff after the whistle. The problem is they got to stay disciplined. Yes, they scored a shorthanded goal, but Vegas scored 2 power play goals.
Yeah.
And the big power play call in the first period after Vegas went down 1-0 thanks to Eric Stahl's shorthanded goal. So, they got to stay out of the box because, Vegas isn't going to take penalties. And Vegas penalty kill was really good in game one. Obviously, it helps when Aiden Hill's your best player. But Vegas, again, they could play different styles. You want to run and gun, they're going to do it. You want to play physical and nasty, they're going to do it. And I think that's what we said in game one. It's like, yes, Florida, a lot of people say, yeah, they're going to play physical, but Vegas can match it with their back end and the guys up front. And that's really what the difference was in game one.
Yeah. Vegas let's face it, Vegas outweighs Florida by about 10 pounds to a man. It makes a difference after a while, especially late in games. And it's probably going to repeat itself at least a few more times in this series, where no matter how physical Florida gets, Vegas has the depth, balance, and ability to not only match that, but counter on their own, which is something Florida arguably really has not faced in this postseason, other than maybe a little bit against Carolina.
A little bit against Carolina, probably a little more so against Boston and Paul Maurice. But, look, Paul Maurice, again, quotes of the playoffs. Everybody's got to take a breath. It's like Aaron says, relax when he was in Green Bay. Like, it is only game one. Again, statistics say the winner of game one wins it.
Yeah.
I've seen teams win game one and lose a Stanley Cup final. I've seen teams win game one and win a Stanley. Game one is game one. And one of the keys for me, if Florida's going to get back in this thing, is they gotta stay disciplined and stay within themselves. I know the physicality and everything, and you want to set the physical tone, but you don't want to cross an edge, and you got to play the game that got you there. I think they were a little amped up too much in that game. Bobrovsky played well, but again, he can't be giving up 3-4 goals. And the Vegas team we're seeing now reminds me of that Vegas team that lost to Montreal in the Western Conference Final after they steamrolled to get there, where they won 4 or 5 games in a row. That was the year they beat Colorado 4 straight, where they just dominate everybody. And we can see that with this Vegas team. When they want to play and they take control of a game, you're not beating them.
No. And if you're Florida, you cannot, and I mean cannot, allow Vegas to have 7 chances on the power play. You just can't. I mean, we even kind of joked about it. Well, Florida probably going to give up a couple minors a game more than Vegas. Wow, did that play out?
Yeah, I know. It'd probably play out again tonight if they're not, because the referees are going to watch for that stuff after the whistle.
Yeah, they're not gonna...
It seems like Vegas was not going to get involved in it, but though they did, I mean, Eichel, Marchessault throwing hands,
picking spots
a little bit. Yeah, picking spots, but they're not going to get agitated by like the stuff that we saw where Bennett and Tkachuk got 10-minute misconducts at the end of the game. Like, that kind of stuff can't happen if you're Florida. You got to get back to the game that brought you here.
Yep.
And look, Vegas defensive system is really good. They can win puck battles. They can win foot races. You got Marchessault 10 goals. You got Carlson 10 goals. Barbership's playing out of his mind. Eichel hasn't scored in like 8 games, and he's still recording points. It's a complete team effort on Vegas' side, and I think they've relied too much on Bobrovsky and Tkachuk to get to this point. I think we need to see guys like Montour and Verhaeghe and Duclair scored last game, but they need more of those guys to start playing and producing, because if they're not, this is going to be a quick series.
Right, and they're getting it in drips and drabs, but they're not getting the balance that Vegas possesses, and that's kind of. And you can't say it's always been that way, because in the Carolina series it was a little more balanced, but set up towards what Kachuk could do. Against Toronto, it was more spread out, aside from the late heroic. You have to realize Florida knows what they need to do. It's just a question of, can they force Vegas into a few mistakes like Dallas did in stretches of that series? And I don't know if Florida's quite capable of that. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out quickly.
I mean, again, the first 10 minutes is going to be huge. Survive it, figure out, because Vegas is going to look to make sure game 2 ends quickly.
Yeah, they want.
And they're going to come out.
They want
they want it. They want a good start. Florida's going to come out with a better start.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you got to stay disciplined. You got to be smart. Again, faceoffs are huge. Turnovers, specialty. It's going to come down to that. Aiden Hill just looks amazing. And look, Vegas, again, I've said this from the start of the series. I'm going to stick with it. Vegas is the better team. They have more depth. Florida can play with them. But again, I think Vegas has more depth up front than Florida does, because all 4 lines can score for Vegas.
And almost has a little bit of that feeling of, basically, Florida is getting done to them what they did to Carolina in some ways at times. There's a little bit of a similarity with this, and it's going to be fun to see in game 2 if Paul Maurice and company figure out, hey, can we counter this in some way? And of course, the obvious, can we stop hitting some posts?
Look, I mean, Florida had some good zone time in game 1.
Especially the first, we said it, the first 20 period, and probably maybe 90 seconds to 2 minutes of the second period.
Yeah, even towards the late end, because they had some nice zone time that led to the tying goal. They even had great zone time to begin the third period.
Yep.
But I think they just wore out because they just hadn't played. And they lost the momentum that was driving them. And that's what happens when you're off for 10 days.
Yep.
It doesn't look good, and it makes you slower, and you could see it. And they're going to get better, but Vegas is going to get better because they didn't play their best.
Right.
And if you didn't think they played their best, they said they didn't play their best. So that means game 2 is just going to be exciting as game 1. And as hockey fans, we love it because it was an entertaining game. It was a 2-2 hockey game until the Zach Whitecloud goal and Mark Stone. And, the empty net goal, okay, big deal. It was an excellent hockey game to start game 1 of the Stanley Cup final. You hope it carries over in game 2.
Yeah, that's as fans and media and such, that's all you can really ask for. Is you want the finale of your season. Let's face it, have some fireworks to it.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be fireworks in this game for sure.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. But again, it's doing the little things right. Get the pucks deep, work the play, win the board battles. It's the simple things in a hockey game that you make the smart play. Don't try to just flip it out. Go off the glass. I know it's boring hockey. It's cliches, but that's what wins this time of year. Vegas has great defense. They got help in front of Hill, and he continues to be tested and continues to answer the bell.
Yeah, this isn't like the Darcy Kuemper. Oh God, do we just pray that we get through this? Aiden Hill is making quality saves and making the Vegas penalty kill look better and better as the playoffs go along. I know everybody says it. Your best penalty killer is your goaltender, but in Vegas's case, it's absolutely true because of the dynamic that Florida can add on the power play and their net front presence. We saw it a few times in game 1, even where it's chance here, chance there, post it. Again, you're going to keep alluding to the post, but yeah, almost have to because of the chances that were there. To be fair, 2 of those 6 posts, Jim, those pucks weren't going in anyway because Hill was there.
Right.
So, again,
It's like me. It's like me on a Friday or Monday morning. Goalie's there. I'm hitting iron. Like it's So look, Hill's been positionally well, but again, Bobrovsky did not play a bad game
no,
one.
he didn't.
But again, second, third, fourth opportunities off the rebound, where Florida early on in the playoffs were getting those pucks away. Vegas is there picking up the rebounds and starting their setup, and then they get guys in front. You take the goalie's eyes away. That's it.
Yeah, Vegas was faster to secondary chances, particularly in the third period, and that was the difference in game one.
And look, they're going to try to do the same thing in game two, and it's going to be an interesting one. I see Vegas going up 2-0. I just, on home ice, they're just such a good team, and just the way they've been playing right now, I feel like if they can get off to a good, strong start, this is 2-0, head back to Florida.
Yeah, this isn't where they could run into. You don't want to say the hot team. Vegas is the hot team.
Vegas is the hot team right now.
So when you look at it that way, you look at hey, the money line's still pretty good. Do we start getting fancy and start surfing things like we did on Saturday? The answer is no.
No.
If you're a common sense bettor, there's a finite amount of games obviously left in the postseason. And if you bet Quebec last night, Memorial Cup, congratulations, that was the smartest move you could have ever made. Okay,
exactly, and you won some money. And if you bet the Miami Heat first half, you also won a lot of money. But there's a lot of keys. We both hit the Marchessault goal. I mean, you called it before we did the game one preview. You said Marchessault was due for a power play goal. He hit 4 posts in the last series on a power play. He was due to score, and you hit it.
All I heard from the guys at VSIM was, "You son of a bitch!" And it's like, really? And I'm like, I told you.
Yeah, you didn't listen to it. I mean, you didn't hear it. We did say it. Like, he said it straight up. And you also called the Duclair goal, by the way. Congratulations on that one, too.
You know what? Look, I look at it this way, and I say this to people, especially when we make bets and picks and such. Bet with your head, please. Especially now.
Yeah, exactly.
You only got what, maybe 2 weeks max.
Yeah, you have 6 games.
You have 2 weeks max.
6 games left. Yeah, that's it. Potentially. 4 at minimum, 7 at most. So
you start.
Be smart.
Start scale. It's okay to scale back. Nobody's going to think any less of you if you go, oh well, instead of putting that $25 bet, I'm going to put down a $5 bet. Or nobody's going to be like, oh, you have to put down $100 on some. No.
So speaking of betting, I got a question for you.
Yep.
Did the numbers drop for Aiden Hill at all in Conn Smythe Trophy after game one, especially after that save?
800. Like we went from 1,200 to 800.
Yeah. So okay. I think everybody knows where the money's going. I think if Marchessault continues to get hot, he's going to be another candidate you could watch too.
Yeah, you almost have to sit there and throw a few bucks on a secondary candidate just in case.
Yeah. Do you see Eichel due for a goal tonight? He hasn't scored in 8 games. It feels like he's due.
If it feels like it. There's something there. I mean, he's had primary assists. He's had where the puck got tipped in. I mean, it's not like it's weird. It's not like he's not shooting the puck toward net where it's like, well, he's just passing off at this point. I think he gets a few more chances tonight, and there's a good chance that he pots one late.
I could see Barbashev popping one tonight too.
And again, Barbashev's another type of guy. We said it too. 195-pound guy that plays like he's 220 something.
Right.
That Florida can't handle. At least right now.
I mean, it's a great trade deadline acquisition. So, so that's going to be really good. I don't know. Hey, I like those plays. For us tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, you're not going outrageous. You're not going completely off the grid. We did enough. I did enough of that in game one. I'm not going to lie. I went with the puck line. Went with the third period puck line as well, and then obviously Vegas live in regulation at 2-2. I probably won't do that the rest of the series. I will not bet live unless it's something that's so out there. It's just part and parcel with how you handle things as you're transitioning into, well, other parts of the NHL betting's off season. Because there's that
Yeah,
too.
there is that too. There is that too.
Because we got the news.
Coaches in New York.
Yep. Wow, we
The
got quite a
odds
bit.
are we got Peter Laviolette, John Hines, maybe Patrick Waugh, maybe not. Who knows?
Is Wa Columbus? Wa New York?
We already got Mike. We got Mike Babcock to Columbus, so that one's already a lot.
Yeah, I know. I keep trying to like will that out of existence, just because you do kind of feel for Columbus at some point.
I mean, let's talk about this real quick,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can talk in the Cole Caulfield stuff.
Yep.
Look, separate Mike Babcock, the coach. Separate Mike Babcock, the human, whatever. I think he's learned a lot being away from the game because he's been around UVM. I've seen him up there. Saw Patrick Sharp up there. I've seen guys up there. He's been advisors. I think he's going to come back with a different attitude because Columbus would not make this hire with the two guys of Johnny Gaudreau and Patrick Laine on this team if it was Mike Babcock's old way of my way or the highway. I just don't think that would be possible to have that right now in today's NHL with those players on those teams to locked up to the contracts they're locked into.
Yeah, my only concern with Babcock is more what he's walking into, as opposed to, look, Columbus led the world in man games lost to injury last year. Hold on, wait a minute. They just had another injury. That's how bad it was. And for those of us, would say, oh, it was just the NHL, part of the Columbus. Oh no, you went down through the minors, the prospects, you name it. Guys that were over in Russia playing in Russia were getting a. It's extraordinary,
insane,
and disturbing all at the same time.
It's crazy,
and
it's real crazy that all the injuries they had.
You add the injuries in, you add all the issues with the goaltending, the team defense, the special teams, the offense. I'd argue that Columbus played their best when all their stars were out. And that's a ominous sign. It really is. You're Mike Babcock. You're walking into a minefield that he can't coach. You're absolutely right, Jim. He cannot coach the way he did before. It's going to be a completely different experience.
Yeah, plus this team's not ready to compete next year, maybe not even a year after. They're probably 3-4 years from competing in that division with the Devils improving. The Rangers are still there, the Islanders. Oh, by the way, Lou Lamoriello is going to talk tomorrow, so it's going to be interesting to see what he says. You got Washington, Pittsburgh still trying to hang around, Flyers. So it's tough division. Interested to see how he coaches, when they announce it, all that stuff. Apparently it's 4-year contract for Columbus. We'll see if he makes it through 2, with the talent there. But again, it's going to be very tough to play the old way of my way or the highway. He's a good coach. He's taken 2 teams to Stanley Cup final, won a Stanley Cup final. He's a champion. Great. We know what happened towards the end in Toronto. All this. All right, whatever. I'm not there. I can't judge it. I've heard the stories. Okay, still not there. Didn't see it. Read about. I still can't pass judgment one way or the other because I wasn't there. What I do know is a guy can coach, but the problem is you have to adjust. And to today's player, today's NHL. And if you don't, the old guard's not going to be here no more. Speaking of the new NHL, how about Cole Caulfield?
Ooh.
Happy Monday if you guys are Canadiens fans, Cole Caulfield especially. Salary hierarchy, another trademark of mine. Gets him under Nick Suzuki, the captain. at what you got paid $7.85 million
Yep,
over
squeeze it
8
in.
years. Just squeeze it in. And that's what the Canadians want to do. Jeff Gordon and Ken Hughes were very clear that nobody was getting paid more than Suzuki. All right, fine. Boom. Work it right in there. They get it done, and they got him locked up. And it's a value contract with the way the salary cap is projected to go up. It's like the Devils Jack Hughes deal looks more of a steal each and every day. The way he's going to play at $8 million. Caulfield's a 50-goal scorer easily. I mean, I just saw some stats today. I just want to bring these stats out real quick. I saw today under Dominic Ducharme as the coach of the Montreal Canadiens. In 40 games, Caulfield had 5 goals, 8 assists. In 83 games under Martin St. Louis, he has 48 goals, 23 assists. We know what he was. He had some experience in that bubble, in that run, but think about this. You have Suzuki at 7.875. Then you have Caulfield at 7.85. Then you have Gallagher at 6.5, and then Anderson still at 5.5. I mean, the Canadians have themselves set up really nicely with that hierarchy that they're talking about. They can add players of defense. They have goaltending they can work with. Samuel Montembeault has looked really good. He looked good in the World. He could probably challenge. And I think he might be the guy of the future for them just because the way he's played this year. And I think the team plays better with him in the net. Again, the workload and how much, defensively they have a lot of answers. Not like they're going to be in a playoff spot next year, but they're going to compete. And then you have, again, Caulfield, what he's going to do, projected easy 40-goal score. And even with a bad shoulder, he was still playing well. So, look, the Canadians' future is very, very bright.
Right. The one thing the Canadians absolutely have to do is improve special teams. They just have to. There's no other way around it. They're one of the worst. They're one of the worst in the league, not just in the last year, but in the last 5 years. So they haven't even sniffed 20% since 2018. So that's got to get better, and the penalty kill obviously has to get way better because it's not just for them. It's not just the amount of goals they've given up; it's the amount of scoring chances they've given up on the penalty kill. It's ridiculous. It's the last 5 years, it's either 29th, 30th, 31st, or 32nd in the league. So,
and look, this is a young team. They're building.
right.
Martin St. Louis, the perfect coach for this kid. He's taken off. You can credit him for doing that. But again, I think St. Louis just let him be who he was, and he didn't expect him to do other things. And this team's going to be very good, and it's going to come down the road. But they're doing things the right way there, similar to what Tom Fitzgerald is in the Devils. And yes, I'm going to tie it in because the Devils have the same salary hierarchy that they want to do in Montreal, which is Jack Hughes gets paid 8, and you better figure out a way to come in under it because that's the way it's going to be. The Devils have done this in the past. I believe it was like Brodeur and Niedermeyer and Elias for like the highest paid guys, and you came in under that.
Yep.
Like that was pretty much how it worked. So look, the contract today, everybody's talking about Bratt and Russ Cohen and we've done a podcast together. He's mentioned it 4 at 6.5. I mean, that to me is realistic because I think Bratt's peaked. If you think he's going to get 7.85 like Caulfield, no, he's not the same player. Projection 7.75. I mean, look, if he thinks he's going to get Jack Hughes money, then he can be traded and he can go someplace else. And I think Tom Fitzgerald has deals in place because what the offer is, what the package is. He said it. He knows what the framework is, and you got to fall in line if you want to stay there. If not, they're going to move you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Bratt knows where. Let's face it, his goose is cooked if he thinks he's getting that much money anywhere else. Even at this point, people saw what they saw this season and last season. Streaky player at times who disappears in big spots too often
and just plays a perimeter game.
Yeah, he's gonna have to play less perimeter and more down the middle. There's no other way around it. You need guys like that to advance further in the playoffs, and Bratt probably realizes this at some point. And He's going to have to take a little less if he wants to stay with New Jersey. It's that simple.
And I think back-to-back 73-point seasons might be his peak. He might be on that turn going the other way.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. I mean, he got off to that great start, franchise record, all that stuff, but there were times he disappeared in the season.
And you can't have that. You can't have that. Even if let's put it this way: even if you're not generating points and a ton of offense, okay, there's other things you're doing. I mean, you hate to point to the most obvious example on the Devils, and that's Nico Hischier, who literally just plays a 200. I argue a 201-foot game.
He probably does.
But at the same time, if Bratt comes anywhere close to that, and again, Hischier's influence is important and key here. Bratt has to realize, hey, this is put up. This is this is going to be put up or shut up. I really don't. If he does, his agent. Yeah, I know this is going to be fun to get into this guy's head. But the reality is, your best situation is in New Jersey. Point blank. It's not anywhere.
Yeah,
it's not anywhere else right now.
No, and you have to be visible, even if you're not producing offensively. You have to be winning puck battles. You got to be strong on the puck. You got to do what figure out a way to get involved somehow. You just can't be standing on the outside. And it's going to be interesting to see what that contract looks like. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Meyer. And now we got reports coming out that the Senators are exploring trade for Alex DeBrincat. See what the market is for him. The offseason is going to be crazy once the final is over.
Yeah, you can feel like it's coming, where a lot of newsworthy items are going to burst at the seams because, well, let's face it, everything's condensed this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're I don't want to say it to jinx it, but we're almost back to normal.
I mean, July 1st is free agency day this year.
Yeah, we're back to the good old 7-1.
7-1. It's a Saturday. It's the Canadian holiday.
I can remember the last time it was on a Saturday. It was free agency really took off on a Saturday, and that was the infamous Brad Richards signing in New York.
Yes. Yeah.
Sitting on a train, and Russ Cohen sitting there telling me, "We got breaking news." It's like, really?
I'm going on a train, man.
On a train. I'm headed to the beach. Screw you, people. It's like.
And we could get this into deeper, but I feel like you should open free agency after the two major holidays in America and Canada. But whatever, this is what it is. Because the new league starts on July 1. All right, whatever. But we got game 2. Stanley Cup final goes tonight. 8-ish puck drop. Probably 8:15, 8:20 again. But it should be a good game. Vegas tries to take a 2-0 series lead, while Florida tries to even it up going back to South Florida Sunrise area. It should be a good one. Hope you guys tune in. Watch it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for the Full Press Hockey Weekly Show. Game 2 pregame show here on @FullPressNHL on Twitter. Full Press coverage on YouTube. Full Press coverage, Full Press Hockey on Facebook, FullPressHockey.com. Get it, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jim Berenger. That's Chris Wassel. Ian behind the scenes. Take care, everybody.